Okay. I believe we should be live now. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? My name is Mitchell Mander, and welcome to my live stream. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Horizons episode 127. The training battles between Liko and Anne, Roy and Nemona, Don and Penny, Alt and Hassel. So, how is this episode overall? Well, before we get started, I just want to say a few things. If you're someone that's new here, you're coming across the stream for the first time, this is what we do here. Usually give it about 5-ish minutes, 5 to 10 minutes for people to show up, after which I give a brief summary of the episode, my thoughts on the episode, I assign a rating to the episode, and yeah, we usually go on for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on, I guess, the topic at hand, or the episode at hand. We'll see. I'm trying to shoot for like maybe an hour, but we tend to go past 1 hour, especially the last few streams we've done. So, we'll see how long we go today. Another thing to note is the music here in the background comes from the Video Game Study Lounge. It is basically remixes of video game music from very popular franchises, like, well, as you can hear, Zelda's playing in the background, also Pokemon, Mario, Final Fantasy, like any of the big like gaming franchises, you'll probably hear something from them, and they're lo-fi remixes along with some originals sprinkled in here and there. I don't know if I have a link in the description right now, but I can get that added. I think that's one thing I forgot to do. But, yeah, check it out. Video Game Lounge, Game Chops. In addition here, if you guys could do me a favor and hit that like button, I would definitely appreciate it. Let's try to get 10 likes here. And also remember to vote in the poll. Currently, we are sitting at 6 votes with 8-7 is actually winning 2/3 of the vote. So, yeah. So if you could do those things, I'd appreciate it. And if you've already done so, you've already done your part. So, yay. Anyways, let's see who's here. Sharon's here. Pokefan's here. Thomas is here. What's up? There's a lot to say about this episode. There's more backstory that we need with Hassel and Alt. Maybe Alt. I don't know about Hassel. They fixed a lot of the power scaling issues I had right after the time skip. Yeah, I mean, are we still upset that Roy beat Nemona in a very cliche battle? Because I don't think that that's a problem anymore. I don't even think it was really much of a problem to begin with, but yeah. Dot's Quacks will evolve in the next episode, which means we have the first Pokemon series to fully evolve all 3 starters under the main cast, as well as all Pokemon fully evolved under the... You basically repeated yourself. I expected Alt to lose to Hassel. I never got to watch subs because they released extremely late last night. I see. I watched it this morning. Animation was decent at best, but the narrative they established were fantastic. Yeah, I'll give my thoughts here in a second. That's one problem I did have with this episode, was the animation was not that great. In these battles, there was a few stiff moments that kinda threw me off at times. Captain Pikachu on Larry's head, though. 8 out of 10. But yeah, at least we got a decent crowd here. It looks like we got 9 people watching. Yay. Remember, likey like button, votey vote. We've only got 4 likes and 6 votes, so like, or 7 votes, excuse me. So, get to liking and voting. And Samurai is kind of weak if you think about it. Not necessarily. Actually, the worst thing Horizons did was the thing with Freed not calling when he could have. It botched his character. The only excuse I can give him is that he maybe lost his Rotom phone, but I think he was trying to contact the actual... He thought maybe they were still together. So he called the ship, but... Probably should have individually called people, but yeah. I won't lie, I've been very... And then... you mean Limbo? Or Illumbo? With Horizon as of late? Not because I'm upset with the show, but more so the whole it's ending soon, yay, now we can get Gen 10 and dump this trash show. I just ignore those people, dude. They clearly don't like the show, but they just they're basically hate watching, so I would just ignore them. I mean, Gen 10 is around the corner, yes, but... So we got something that's going to be, we're probably going to be learning about here relatively soon, but yeah. My guess is that Alt's father knew Hassel, which is how Dragonite knows Hassel. Well, maybe. Or it's just because, like, the guy's a Dragon Master kind of, like, character. Could also be that. I don't know. My guess is, okay, yeah, but I feel like this will be the final arc of the main story. You think it's going to be ending, like, next month or two? I actually don't think the animation was that bad, given that they were jumping between 4 battles. I suppose, but there's a few moments, if you go back and watch it, that are just kind of awkward. That kind of throw me off a bit. I remember there's one part with Vaporeon and Lucario that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. We need that epilogue arc. Before this episode is... Well, the series is wrapping up, but now I'm not sure. Well, I don't want to get into it yet because I'm still going to do my summary section, but it's pretty clear that they said that they're going to be battling more, so they're going to be all training and kind of just, powering themselves up, so to say, toughening themselves up so that they're ready for this final battle, this final confrontation and Rikua. Dots Quaxwell has had some of the worst treatment post-time skip. Yep. Metroid. If only a certain Fizzle Wizard was here to hear this. I feel like the post-time skip Horizons has had may not be as good as the pre-time skip. The pacing is very rushed. It's kind of ironic that you say that because people thought the pacing was rushed in Rayquaza Rising, but I mean, the general consensus, and even I think that, yeah, now that, we've been pretty much close to a year into the time skip, yeah, I can kind of safely conclude that, based on where we're at now and how many episodes we've had in the time skip, pre-time skip, and post-time skip, that, yeah, I don't think that Horizons Part 2 is as strong as Part 1. Kind of like the story a little bit more in Part 1. Even though I do like the fact that Spinel took over as main villain. Introduce new narratives and goals for them to get stronger right when we thought they were finished. Narratively, this episode was amazing. Alt vs. Hassel was good. Well, yeah, it gives them a reason to be like, okay, they're gonna be doing this training in this area, in the Elite Four area, in preparation for this final battle. So it can, it can imply that because they're gonna be doing all this training, they're gonna be getting stronger. I mean, if Roy's gonna keep going up against Nemona constantly, you gotta think, yeah, he's gonna get stronger and stronger to the point where he's going to match up with her. So in that sense, it kind of works out if you think about it that way. But anyways, we're about 10 minutes in the stream. I don't want to delay any further, so I'm going to go ahead and start with a summary of this episode. We'll leave off at Thomas's comment there on the narratively the episode was amazing. You can continue chatting, but I'm going to stop right there for now. I'll resume when I'm done with the summary. So it's going to be a quick summary because, yeah, this episode is pretty easy to summarize. It's pretty much a training episode. It's 4 battles in one episode, and they're 1v1s, and they're kind of going on at the same time. Anne's back, and they're kind of talking about, you know, how they should do their battle training and stuff. And turns out that Iono's got the place just for them, and, you know, Gita, Larry, and Hassel's here, you know. So they're doing their training, you know, and everyone's got their battle partners, but Alt, so Hassel decides to jump in and be his training partner. So we have our battles. To be honest with you, to me, I think Dot versus Penny is probably the most important one here. Liko versus Anne's still pretty good. You gotta give it to Liko. She's the only one that didn't outright lose here. She drawed with Anne, and she had the type disadvantage. And also, interesting enough, we learned that Samurot's Terra type is ground, so I'm guessing that's going to be Anne's going to be representing ground type with her Samurott here. So that's cool. Roy versus Nemona I thought was decent. You know, Roy didn't exactly go down easily. I was a little, I guess, bummed out that he didn't seem to, you know, he was kind of just spamming moves for a little bit there, and Nemona points it out at the end. That was his flaw in that battle. But Nemona ends up winning against Roy. I'll skip Dot versus Penny. I'll save that one for last. Alt versus Hassel. Obviously, the dude is just not prepared to go up against an Elite Four member. He's just spamming out moves, whereas Hassel is basically just, you know, he's building a perfect strategy. He basically traps Dragonite and a bunch of blizzards, which allows Hassel to take him out. I was expecting Hassel to cry here, but maybe next time, maybe Alt will actually hit or have Dragonite actually land a pretty solid attack, and then that's gonna make Hassel over here break down and cry. Maybe we'll get that before the final battle. But the most important one here is Dot versus Penny, and Dot's doing pretty good at first. However, after Muddy Water is used, Dot's other Pokemon that were spectating here ended up getting caught up in it, and Quaxwell ended up trying to protect them. And Penny realizes Quaxwell's weakness and exploits it here, and has Vaporeon attack Dot's other Pokemon, which Quaxwell jumps in and immediately leaves it vulnerable. Dot is a bit dismayed here, saying that, hey, you're breaking the rules by doing something like this, and Penny's mate say, well, that's true. However, the explorers aren't going to play by the rules. They're going to cheat. They're going to play dirty. So you have to anticipate that they're not going to, you know, play fair. So that was kind of a learning lesson for Dot here. And although the others were pretty, you know, even though they may not have, you know, won outright or lost, they're pretty satisfied with their training. They're going to be doing some more here in preparation for going to Rakua, making sure they're ready. Unfortunately, Dot kind of is feeling a little down after that battle, and decides that she's actually going to drop out from being one of the main trainers that's going to be, you know, utilizing their Pokemon for the 18 Terra types. So she wants to play a supporting role. And Iono happens to overhear this. And yeah, Dot just thinks that she's just not strong. She's not capable enough as she currently is. That's pretty much where the episode ends. So I thought this was a pretty decent episode overall. The battles were fine. If I had to choose, I'd say like Dot versus Penny was probably the best one, just narratively. Alt versus Hassel was probably like maybe my least favorite, but that's probably because that was the shortest one, and even then it kind of goes to show, you know, Alt's weaknesses and that, you know, he's got a lot to learn still. He's still a pretty newbie trainer despite having a freaking Dragonite. So he's, you know, he's learning from an expert here. So, you know, that could actually, you know, be to his advantage here so that he's primed and ready for the final battle. You know, Roy versus Nemona, to be honest with you, it's probably not quite as good as the previous one. The animation was a little bit lackluster in this one, and I thought Lucario had Ultra Instinct based on the GIF that they showed off the other day, but turns out that it was actually Palmont that has Ultra Instinct. Liko versus Ann was pretty good though. You know they've defeated each other, and now this is a draw here. So the whole purpose here was Ann wanted to know if that she could keep up with Liko still, because, well, you know, Liko's going around the world, and, you know, although Anne's kind of been around too, she's gone to Paldea, and she is in Paldea now, and she's also been to Blueberry Academy, but even then, you know, Liko's still gone around the world, and she wants to make sure that she's not falling behind. So narratively, this is cool, that, and I think it did a good job here to show that they're basically on equal terms. But Liko's not exactly weak either. She had the type disadvantage, and she still managed to draw with Anne. Although at first it looked like Liko's the one that outright lost. So, neat. Although I will say, Liko might have gone off easy, because Roy, Dot, and Alt had to go up against arguably stronger trainers, and Nemona, Penny, and Hassel. So, I guess Liko got the easy one. Not necessarily, though, but... Not saying that Anne's weak, it's just that, like, it's Nemona and Hassel, for example. They're pretty top-tier trainers in Paldea. And in the games, Penny is, too, and what we've seen in the series, she's actually pretty good. So, just saying. But overall, it's a fine episode. Narratively, good. Animation-wise, a little lacking in areas. So, I'm fine with this episode. 7 out of 10, in my opinion. Alright, let's get back to the chat, because you guys have been chatting away, so let's get caught back up. This begs the question, will we get a final Roy versus Nemona 3v3 battle where Roy loses? Since they can't end with Roy losing, then you mean Roy wins? I was going to say, he'd just be losing again. To me, Roy's Lucario got his power scaling nerfed. You know, Nemona literally said that Palmont's stronger than the previous time they fought, right? You know that, right? And Samurai has the ground Terra, so that's, yep, that takes care of that. You know, she's gonna have the ground typing there. Crazy theory, Dot is a fan of Ash. That's why she uses similar strategies to him. Wouldn't that be interesting? Maybe we'll get a Nido Thing Ash interview. Quaxwell was worried when its sister and Goldango were trapped in the muddy water. Well, not perfect. I definitely don't hate the time skip. I do feel in general there's been a bit of an animosity towards it, and that the time skip ruined the show, which I don't get. I don't think it ruined the show. It's just that certain things have been kind of like not handled the best. I don't think Mega Voltage is like the best arc by any means. I still think Arc 2 is still my least favorite in the series. But Mega Voltage is, you know, just only slightly above it. I felt like Mega Voltage had the weakest ending of like any arc in the series so far. Like, Arc 2, even though I dislike Arc 2, that had a solid ending. I think we can all agree with that. Everybody seemed to like that, so... but Mega Voltage's ending was kind of just... There's also been things I feel that have been happening a little bit too fast during Mega Voltage. Like, there's a lot of things that were set up in the beginning, you feel like it would have taken longer, but it felt like things were kind of falling into place a little bit too conveniently. So that's kind of like my main criticism for Mega Voltage, is that like it starts out fine, but then as the arc goes on, it kind of just is like, okay, everything's happening really fast. So like, can we like slow it down a bit? But yeah. Roy just kind of got a little careless in battle. Yeah, just spamming moves a little bit, which Nemona points out at the end. As for the episode itself, I enjoyed it. Fun battles, and I'm guessing they learned a lot of new things now, which is good. That's the point, and they said they're going to be doing this pretty much like every day until they're ready. So this kind of goes to show that they are going to be, narratively, they should be getting stronger as a result of this. So that's a good thing. That is actually probably the strongest thing this episode does, is it kind of establishes the fact that since they're all, you know, going up against all these trainers, you can imply that their Pokemon are going to get quite the power boost from it all. So they ain't they're already getting stronger as time has gone on, but they're going to be even stronger after this. Dot feels like she's not strong enough to be one of the 18 Terra types. Dot has to know not to play it safe, so safe. I think pre-time skip Dot was doing better in battle. Worst to best battles. Alt, Roy, Liko, then Dot. Yep. It's kind of about where I feel, actually. And I don't even think Alt's battle was bad, it was just the short one. Armorer's got terrestrialized for the first time. Yep. Pretty excited for Quackable next week. About time the Duck Boy gets love. Yep. This begs the question, if we get the tournament arc where we'll get 3v3 battle with Penny versus Dot, where Dot finally beats Penny, and get a final 3v3 battle with Roy versus Nemona. That's if we get that. You know, we can only speculate for now because we have no idea what's going to happen here. We're going into the final battle here very soon. We don't know exactly when this final battle could be. It could be even happening next month for all we know. We still got to tackle Rayquaza too. But we don't know. We'll probably know soon enough, right? Hey, Pokemon Day is in 13 days, so maybe we'll learn something that day since there's sparkles on that date. And Roy wins, and maybe we'll get battle the teachers and Miriam, Salvatore, Rayport. Maybe. My guess for the next episode is Quaxwell evolves and beats Iono. So it could be the Rayquaza Terra Raid Battle episode. I mean, this is the only Pokemon series of all Pokemon so close to one another. Jeez Louise, Sharon, you're going to went a little crazy in the chat. Like the arc we had Evolution back to back to back, and then Evolution only a couple episodes apart. See, I don't get why these evolutions are a problem. There's only a couple that maybe are a little iffy. I'm a little iffy with Quaxwell, to be honest with you, just because it's been kind of just getting tossed around this whole like post time skip. Goldango is a bit of a gimmick, so I can't really hate that one. Skellydirge deserved it. Heaterine probably could have used a little bit more development, but I guess I'm fine with it. It evolved in a kind of neat way too. Yeah, and then Charcadet probably could have used a little bit of development before it evolved, but I think it got pretty decent for what we got with it. I'm fine with more training we need if we're going to be fighting Spinel. Yep. I mean, with us getting Quackable so late in the series, how much will Quackable get to do? I have no idea. I mean, we got Skellydirge pretty late into the series, if we're being completely honest. Skellydirge was only like 2.5 months ago, though. But its main thing is he got to fight Freed and beat Charizard. Horizon's missing episodes. Metheo finding Zygarde, yep. Charcadet and Roy's training episode in BBA, yep. An emotional episode where Dragonite officially starts obeying Roy. Yeah, we could have used maybe a little bit more on that. But, yeah. Well, I'm going to go eat lunch. Alright, Pokefan. Thanks for chilling with us. Oh. What did you think of my Arvin essay? I think the anime director Clavel will be the one who adopted Arvin, because in most school shows there's usually one character who was the son of the principal. I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't necessarily think that, like, you know, I mean, obviously the game story with Arvin is a little complicated. You don't necessarily have to go that route, because they don't usually do that with certain characters. I mean, if we're being real, Lily had a bit of a interesting plot in Sun and Moon in the games, and the anime took it in a completely different direction by making her scared of Pokemon. Not to mention, it seems like her mom was just like overbearing in the anime, whereas she's kind of already evil in the game. So I feel like there'd be a way to integrate Arvin into the series. It's just that they have to find a way to, like, maybe disconnect them from, you know, mom and dad a bit. Since pretty much at this point we're probably not touching Koraidon and Miraidon. I've kind of given up on that unless they surprise us here in the like very end game of the series. But yeah. Charcadet needed a train episode VBA. I think Pokemon Day we will get the final trailer for the conclusion of this arc, where they will show shiny complete form Zygarde. We could. Okay, you just gotta think, last year on the Pokemon Day we literally got Roy and, you know, Mega Shiny Lucario teased. I don't know what they're gonna do this time around. Whatever they decide to do, I'll be here for it. I'm gonna have to see if I can take that day off from work so I can do the reaction that morning. But I'll try to wake up early too, because we might even get that announcement after the episode airs that day. Yeah. They've been kind of drip feeding the episode titles and summaries lately, but I think it's because what's coming next is going to be big, so. I do think that the way that they're shaping it up is that, you know, we're going to be tackling Spinel here sooner than later. I thought maybe they would do it this summer, because I figured maybe they'd train a bit and do a few things, but the fact that the Strong Spheres are getting ready to hit the public tells me that, yeah, we're probably going to be heading to Recrua very soon here. Maybe also we get some sort of confirmation that we're getting next after this, if it's going to be an epilogue arc or some sort of side Pokemon miniseries. Well, okay, so before the next arc, I've noticed a pattern when it comes to Horizons, when it comes to like the next arc. We usually get some type of announcement a couple weeks prior to the current arc ending. If you recall from last year, when we were pretty much like almost wrapping up Rayquaza Horizon and, you know, Recrua and all that, we got that poster for the time skip. That happened like not even 2 weeks after Pokemon. It was only like 2 weeks after Pokemon Day we got that. So my assumption is, if we're going to have an arc that happens after the current arc is going on, we're gonna learn that probably like early March would be my guess, unless they like go all out and like say that this is what's gonna be happening, you know, on Pokemon Day. But I have no idea of that, what they're gonna do. They could do the complete opposite, for what all I know. That's just based on what I can see from the past. That is what I can speculate what is probably going to happen based on what we did last year. Terrestrial debut also 2 years ago. I believe that was just before the end of Arc 2. We got that poster, so yeah. I noticed they have only been giving us only one title and summary for at a time instead of all the episodes for the month. Yeah, it pretty much tells you that when they're drip feeding it like this, it's because they clearly don't want to like spoil what's happening next yet. They're doing it for a specific reason, because we're getting towards the climax of the series, so they're probably going to start slowing down on this. I mean, a side Pokemon miniseries for the 30th anniversary would make sense. I don't know. You know, you say that, but like, do you think they'd really do that for the anime? I know for the 20th anniversary they did Pokemon Generations. I don't know if you remember that little mini-series they had a while back. It was like an episode per region, if I remember correctly. And we've had stuff from, like, you know, the Paldea Wing... what was it? The, Twilight Wing series for, Sword and Shield, and then Hisuian Snow for Legends Arceus. And then we had that one Paldean Winds or whatever it was for Sword Scarlet and Violet, so I don't know. Nemona 1 in the series fixed its power scaling issue mostly. See? What did I tell you, Thomas? What did I tell you? When Roy won that one time, I was like, look, he won on a technicality. And I can tell you right now, and I even said back then, I'm like, what if they battle again and then he loses? And look what happened. Not only once, but twice. So, there. It seems I was validated once again. Just kidding. It would be a televised miniseries where it would fill the time slot every Friday. Well, if they're going to do something like that, then they have to announce it, like, soonish, I would say. Again, probably March would be, like, when I would assume something like that is getting announced. The Pokemon Day announcements for the Pokemon Presents are mainly for, like, the games and maybe some other promotional stuff that they're doing. I wonder that even if this is the last of the Arc of Horizons, I wonder if they will still stick with this group. Hi, Kelsey. My expectation is no. This is probably just a one and done series for these characters. I'd be very surprised if these characters continued on to the next series. It'd be unexpected, but you know, Pokemon does the unexpected now, so you never know. Hold on one second. Alright, anyways, new main characters for the next series is what I would expect. I wouldn't be surprised if Dot secretly watches Ash in PWC Battles Online. Maybe we can assume she does that in off-screen land. I just wonder if there has been enough episodes in this series or not. I mean, this is episode 127. I would say that's a pretty, good amount of episodes. Over 100. We're in the triple digits. I feel like Pokemon will give us new main characters every series going forward, like Beyblade and Digimon. That's pretty much my expectation. Unless they decide to, pull 180 and bring Ash back, but I personally don't want that to be the case. You know, his time in the series was long overdue when he finally retired, and now they finally, you know, switch out the protagonist. It'd be very weird if they went back. It would almost feel like Horizons was like a failed experiment or something like that if they were to do something like that. I just want them to be fresh with the series. Like, ever since Sun and Moon, they've tried something different each series. And Horizons is the biggest change, obviously, with switching Ash out. But each series, I want them to continue this route where they're just innovating with the series and doing something new. Like, the next series, I don't want it to be like Horizons, for example. I want somewhat of a return to form, but I also want it to be different enough to where it's distinct. When I mean return to form, I mean I would like one of the main characters, their goal to be taken on the League. Kind of thing. And then maybe like another character is taking on the main, you know, like side thing for the game. You know, like contests in previous games. And then another character to do something anime original. I think that would be cool for the next series. Has Alt had enough screen time? He's had decent. It's been about a year since he's been introduced. He could use maybe a little bit more, but he did get development in this episode. You gotta give him that. He's still, you know, he's training with an Elite Four member. He's not gonna win easily. He's still gotta improve. Good episode for the group, showing that they still have a long ways to go before trying to stop the explorers. Yep, and hey, what's up, Beast Mode God? Have the Gen 10 anime take place mostly in the newest region? Yes. And Dot losing was good. Yep, it was definitely needed for her development. Alt needs more development. Alt should get low kicks. Well, there you go. Problem solved. There he gets development. Should Amethio have joined the Volt Tacklers? I don't think so. I mean, they're allies now, but like I kind of like his lone wolf kind of thing. Although he's got Zirconconia now joining him now. I just wished maybe we got like an episode of him collecting some of the Zygarde cells instead of him showing up big. Yep, I got them all. That's what I don't want for the final battle. Like, hey, we're going... we need an episode. Like, he's got 50%. We know that. So, like, we should have an episode where they're, like, still looking, and maybe they're, like, down to the part where they're down to the last couple of cells or something like that. And we get some more Amethio development. It'd be cool. And instead of him just showing up at the final battle, yep, I did it. I did it, guys. But you don't necessarily need him to join the Rising Volt Tacklers. I remember when people were telling me that a year ago, like, yep, I'm expecting him to join in the next arc. It's going to be, you know, Liko, Roy, Dot, and Amethio. They're going to be traveling the world on the Bravest Augie. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And it turns out I was right. I do expect him, when this is all over, to become the new, like, CEO of, like, Exceed or something. And he takes over. And Spinel is either sent to the Shadow Realm or is sent to jail. There are still things I want to see, like Roy and Liko's final battle. Roy seeing his parents again. Yeah, they don't have a bug Terra type yet. Cleavor is bug Terra? Is that true? I think that might be true. We're gonna check on that right now. I know I mentioned it when we had the episode with the hero Pokemon. We were battling the hero Pokemon, but well, we're here. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna look again. Let's see. That was like 2 episodes ago. Okay, so Cleavor is bug. Yes, they do have... Okay, Cleavor is bug. Okay, So we have Orbolivia is normal, Moltres is dark, Lapras is ice, Cleavor is bug, Gouging Fire is rock. And then we find out, Samurott is ground, so we got that taken care of. We can assume that Meowscarada, Skeledirge, and Quaquaval is going to be probably representing, grass, fire, and water. So now we got to figure out the rest. I'm expecting Sylveon to be, fairy type representative for Dot. Palmon is fighting, so I'm expecting that to be, Palmon to take the fighting Terra. Isn't Charizard's Terra dark? Am I right when I say that? And then maybe Sableye can be Ghost, and then Rayquaza Dragon. Oh. And then Poison for Pecharunt. What else am I? What else am I missing? Psychic. Maybe Heatherine. Kilowattrel can be electric, yeah. Pikachu is going to be flying? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Cerulege is ghost. I guess a Sableye is not going to be utilized there. So is Alt not going to be one of the 18? Not one of the trainers then? People were bothered by the reasons Freed disappeared. Yep. Well, we already know. We've already established that. I guess is that one episode in March we'll be seeing Diana again. Maybe Diana and Liko rematch, and the episode where we see Freed again, and one episode where they get the hero Pokemon to join the rival tacklers and help them with the Terra types. I expect them to show up at Rakua, and that's because that basically in that episode Zygarde was going to call them when the time comes. So yeah, he is. Kilowattrel is electric. Oh yeah, I already read this. Tinkaton is steel. Yeah, Tinkaton could probably be the steel type unless it's Lucario. Sableye is dark type also. What's up, Kevin? Would it be used over Charizard though? Because I thought Charizard was dark Terra. I'm gonna have to write down. I gotta get it on paper. Who the 18 Terra types can be. How do you feel about them also losing all their battles? Do you feel it was unfair? Do you think it was to make them rematch in the future? This is supposed to be training, so I don't really put too much stock into it. I thought Liko versus Anne was well done, personally, because the whole narrative thing here is that Anne wanted to see if she could keep up with Liko. And Liko wasn't going to hold back. So technically, it kind of fulfills that narrative, showing that Anne can, be on par with Liko. But Liko also kind of had the type disadvantage, and she still managed to draw with Anne. Roy versus Nemona was a bit lacking, in my opinion. I don't mind him losing, but I do expect him to eventually win against her. If they have a final battle once everything's settled here. If we get the hypothetical tournament arc following this current arc. Dot versus Penny was good for the narrative. It's good for the next episode, primarily. Alt, are we expecting Alt to beat Hassel? If anything, if anything, like I expect from this training for him to actually get a good move or get hit on Hassel's Pokemon, and then he just breaks down crying and be like, "Oh my gosh, you've learned so much. I'm just gonna cry for the next hour." Freed and Alt and Roy will use their Megas in the final battle. He is Dark Terra. I think Liko have very good battle. Oh, I just realized, new person. Hey, what's up? You also needed a full-on Kilowattrel focus episode post-time skip. Yeah, that would be cool. But at least Kilowattrel got its development recently in that Heroes battle. New move and, you know, Terrasilize. So isn't that a W? I think Armorers will learn a psychic move or not enough time. It could. Hello, Mitchell Manager. Do you think Dragon Ball GT better than Pokemon Horizons? That's a kind of random comparison. I think Pokemon Horizons is actually better personally. GT, I'm not a big fan of. My preference is the original series. GT, you know, was kind of a continuation that was, you know, not based on the original Dragon Ball manga. Toriyama's involvement was, you know, not a ton, but it had some moments that were cool, but I'm not necessarily a big fan of the series personally. Good ending though, we'll give it that. I will be here for the episode 128, 129, 130, 131 live discussion. Sounds good. Okay. Well, 47 minutes into the stream, so yeah. If you guys could do me a favor and hit the like button, we are currently at 6 likes. And there's 8 people watching, so you know what that means. Time for you guys to hit that like button and get this to at least 10 likes. I would appreciate it. And remember to vote. Currently 8-7 is winning with 57% of the vote. 10-9 got 36%, and someone did not like this episode and voted lower than 5. 14 votes. Cool. If you voted lower than 5, could you come forward and tell me why you didn't like this episode? I'm curious to know why. Good. Do you tired from X and Y Glazers which hate Pokemon Horizons? I don't know if it's necessarily like X and Y fans that hate Horizons. I do think some people, like, there are certain people that don't like the series just because Ash is not in it. I do have a problem with people that glaze the crap out of X and Y just because, like, it's a good series. It's just like not like this masterpiece that some people make it out to be. Good battles though. I hope next episode we will get a 2-on-2 or strictly 1-on-1. I feel like Quaxwell trying to always trying to protect his siblings is a sign for Dot needs to train her other Pokemon. I mean, her other Pokemon are trained, you know, pretty good. It's just that Quaxwell's got that older brother instinct, and it jumps in and kind of just sacrifices itself. It did so in that hero battle. Dot brings that up. And that's kind of the big weakness for Quaxwell currently. Something that they need to work to overcome. My guess is episode 134 and 135 will be the final Clash episodes against Spinel. That's pretty soon. The giant cheese stick needs more than 2 moves. If Alt were to catch a third Pokemon, what would fit him? Thomas said low kicks. I don't know, honestly. Kind of hard to say. Do you watch Gundam G? You mean G Gundam? Hope you're not tired from my random questions. No, you're good. G Gundam. I've watched G Gundam. It's pretty good. My roommate actually is very much into Gundam right now. It's kind of interesting you bring Gundam up. He builds Gunplas. But G Gundam, I enjoyed it. I just haven't watched Gundam a whole lot in a long time. XY before XYZ was very episodic. The people called the series that shall not be named episodic. Yeah. Although they literally said that the series that shall not be named was going to be the most episodic series of any Pokemon series, and they weren't really wrong in that department. But I do agree that X and Y had episodic episodes. It had a lot of, like, quote-unquote filler, but that kind of just felt, like, out of place at times. But, yeah. In my opinion, Quaxwell is pretty weak compared to Masquerada and Skeledirge. Agreed. I was asking if you think the next episode will be 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. Based on what I can tell, it looks like it's going to be 1v1. It looks like it's just Quaxwell versus Bellybolt, and eventually Quaxwell potentially evolves here. I'll be shocked if it does not evolve. This being a focus episode just screams evolution. It is a crime that no main character owns low kicks. Goldango having Shadow Ball and something like Thunder Wave. That could be neat. Oh man, everybody likes to contact me when I'm doing these streams. Oh, just a reminder to hit that like button. We're at 7 likes. Can we get 3 more likes up in here? I would appreciate it. And remember to vote. We are currently at 15 votes. No way. 8-7 is still very much in the lead. Katie has a low kicks in the anime. Oh. Well, at least there's that. I'm kind of surprised that Quaxwell is not strong enough, and this evolution could make it a lot stronger. Maybe Pokemon Horizons was planning this, and that's why they waited this long for the evolution. Yeah, it is quite a long time for it to evolve, though. You know, it evolved before, you know, Voikoko evolved in the Crocolar, and now we got Skeledirge, so yeah. It does feel like it's a long time coming, but also Quaxwell has not had the best track record when it comes to the post-time skip. With Pokemon Horizons, if the name of the Pokemon was in the title or summary, they have a much higher chance of evolving in the episode. Yep. Hate Team Flare Arc because they hope they can get great battle like Domon versus Devil Gundam. Hate Greninja versus Charizard because I hope we can get final battle between Domon versus Master Asia, but no. Oh. That's an interesting comparison there. I don't want to get into it, but like, yeah, that, you know, Ash Greninja versus Mega Charizard. Yeah, they were like, the problem is like the narrative was building towards Ash winning, just because their first Ash and Alon's first battle, Ash got stomped. Their second battle, he actually was doing pretty good to the point where Alon was actually like, "This is what I've been looking for." and then, you know, he passed out. But, yeah. I don't like how it was handled, personally, just because Ash really worked hard to get the gym badges, whereas Alon steamrolled his way through it and wasn't even interested in the league. So it's kind of annoying, because, like, if, like, Alon wasn't here, Ash would have won the league. And it kind of just feels like he was kind of thrown in there, you know, to prevent Ash from winning for that reason. So, like, it's just narratively not satisfying. That's the problem with that, and that's why it was so controversial nearly 10 years ago. Guys, Ash versus Alon in the league is going to be 10 years old in August this year. Isn't that insane? It's crazy. Time flies. In the Tressel debut, she used it with Liko against Rika. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's been a while since I watched that. He is not a main or recurring character, though. Low Kicks is one of the best Gen 9 Pokemons. Deserve to be owned by the main character. Or having Low Kicks would have been cool. Do you think Quaxwell deserves the evolution due to the battles it had? It's I'm kind of 50-50. Like, I'm glad we're getting this, because they're finally addressing this after all this time. But, like, and, like, I did, when I made my video yesterday, I purposely put in, you know, in the background, images of Quaxwell going up against the hero Pokemon. Literally, Lapras was one of them. I think Cleavor was the other one. So, like, the whole point is that, like, it was going up against legendary Pokemon, and then, like, the hero Pokemon. It also went up against Entei, too. So it's like, I mean, you gotta assume if they're going up against these powerful Pokemon, it's going to, like, rub off on them and make them stronger. So, like, I mean, there's that at least. So, like, you could argue that, like, having those battles toughened it up to get ready for this evolution. But on the other hand, it has a horrible track record post-time skip. And in some cases, it's, you know, not necessarily its fault. One was due to Requiem, and, you know, what Requiem does to Pokemon, it makes weak Pokemon strong. And then, you know, in the hero Pokemon battle, for instance, you know, it kind of took an L, but it did so protecting, you know, Dot's other Pokemon, which was brought up in this episode. So, like, on one hand, you know, it's a long time coming, but on the other hand, it's also taken a lot of L's. But, like, narratively, bringing up the fact that, like, its main weakness was exposed in this episode is probably going to be crucial to what's going to happen in the next episode and Dot's rematch with Iono. And we know that Quaxley lost to Bellibolt, which it had a disadvantage against. So, like, it would be kind of narratively satisfying. It'd be actually very satisfying overall for it to fully evolve here and win. It would basically be coming full circle from their original battle, which I think would be good development for Quaxwell and the Quaquaval, and Dot too. Liko having Titan. I think that, I don't know how to pronounce that right. Draxbun. Goodness. Earthworm would fit Roy. I don't know about Earthworm. Earthworm's kind of gaggy. I don't think Dot will win the battle because on top of the type of disadvantage, Iono's Bellibolt knows light screen. I don't know. I feel like Dot losing again in an episode that's supposed to be with her and Quaxwell developing, it would just be not really satisfying, I guess. I mean, I like Dot. I do think that Dot post-time skip has not been as good, personally. But, like, I feel like if we're going to make, hit a home run with this episode, an evolution and a W here would be, like, the best case scenario. Because if it loses again, I know it has a type disadvantage, but if it loses again, it's just like, good lord, it's just going to, ruffle people the wrong way, and I don't want that, personally. it's just going to ruin its reputation even worse than it already is. There's moral. Ash Pokemon suffer because what Raiders concentrate. Greninja, I mean, Halucha is okay, but nothing more. Noivern has less screen time than a Shenron. Goodra worse than Bayleaf. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Noivern kind of just, yeah. Noivern deserved better. It kind of makes sense. It decides that why Dot decides not to be one of the 18 Terra types, because Quaxwell got destroyed by one, so it doesn't stand a chance to be strong enough as a 6 hero Pokemon. Well, we'll see what happens in the next episode. The Elite Four room reminds me of the Emerald City from Wizard of Oz. A little bit. Was Quaxwell using Surf in the preview, or was it just for style? I'm not sure. That was Spidops and Mabostiff. Yep. Anyways, guys, we're an hour into this stream now. Surprisingly, we've gone on for an hour, so what else do you guys have for me today before we wrap things up here in a little bit? Just a reminder, we still are sitting at 7 likes, and we have 9 people watching, so if you haven't liked already, I would definitely appreciate you liking the stream. It really helps the channel. I know it sounds like I'm begging here, but likes do show YouTube that, hey, people like my content and may recommend it to others, so I would definitely appreciate it if you took the time to like the video. You can also hype the stream up after the stream ends. And vote in the poll. We are currently at 16 votes. And 8-7 is winning. I'm really upset in Horizons that we haven't really seen Dash Bun in the anime. That's what happens when you travel around the world. You're kind of missing out on some Pokemon that are not being shown off here. If it gave the main characters other Paldean Pokemon, because with the main characters in the series, they mostly give them Pokemon from the newest region. Capsicid would have fit Roy. I mean, Dot has 2 steel types. Capsicid would have been cool. I was, when that episode came out, I knew it was a, Wattrel evolving into Kilowattrel, but imagine if he got not only the evolution but a new Pokemon at the same time. That would have been a double win there. But hey, guess it wasn't meant to be. I want Dot to win against Iona because I think then the next episode Quaxwell is going to tell Dot that he's not going to give up and that he will do the dancing to dodge attacks, and that's when it will evolve. Well, the whole thing is that Iona literally tells Dot that her bond with Quaxwell and her Pokemon in general has faltered. So this is going to be reestablishing their bond. That's going to be the whole point of the episode before it eventually evolves. As you know, I watched the dub, and as Mega Voltage has been my least favorite arc so far. I see it's been a lot of people's least favorite. That's something that really, really angered me. Roy didn't catch Capsicid. I think that would have been a nice capture. But it's too little too late now. Okay. Anything else, guys? 2 more likes, by the way, to 10. Roy also did not catch that Frogobix. I mean, Caliber could have been a powerhouse on Roy's team. Yeah, but you see what Pokemon Hassel has? Don't want to have 2 of them. I don't know why they waited this long for Liko and Dot and Roy to catch a 3rd Pokemon. Yeah, that's my one issue is that I mean, technically, Liko got a third Pokemon in Terrapagos. And Charcadet was captured pretty much a year after it debuted, which I don't want the series to do that again. Don't debut a Pokemon like, and then like almost a whole year later, you finally get it. That's one thing that rubbed me the wrong way about that capture. And then Gimmighoul not too long afterwards. Hey, look, we got some Pokemon lo-fi in the background. Do you think the writers Pokemon X and Y can replace Serena by Alon and Comet and Bonnie by Solar because Ash must reach your full potential? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, X and Y is kind of, you know, it's kind of done, so not they're not gonna go back and like change stuff at this point, but unless they did like some type of mini like ZA series, I don't know. I mean, we're also past the Ash era too, so can't really go back and change a whole lot there since it's done. I mean, Palma would have fit Liko, even though Nemona has one. I think Nemona's Palma kind of fits the bill there. I mean, we have had two characters with the same Pokemon in the same series, yeah, but this series seems to be doing it, or keeping Pokemon to, like, specific characters. I don't believe either Gimmighoul or Charcadet were planned to be captured, I think, due to anger with the fans. I kind of doubt that, personally. I almost just feel like maybe they were like, hey, what can we do to, like, get these characters another Pokemon? Hey, you know, Charcadet and Terrapagos bonded in that one episode. Let's bring it back. I just don't think it was handled the best, personally. I don't like it ever, but Ash did the same with Crocodile Rock. Yeah. Kind of sucks how Alt is not going to be one of the 18 Terra types because Alt does not have a Terra Orb. I was gonna say, isn't Terrapagos able to just like cause them to terastallize regardless? Alt seems like he's part of the team here, so I don't know. Liko should have caught Charcadet in episode 57 because then it would have had a lot more time to develop. You think we will get Liko versus Roy at the end of the series? I have no clue. Probably, maybe. I don't know. Maybe in that hypothetical tournament arc. Charcadet was probably not Gimmighoul. Charcadet does fit Liko, but it wasn't the right time for Charcadet as Hatterene was starting to get development. Rabombi would have fit Liko. She met Charcadet right before Grusha battle. Hatterene wouldn't go first battle, Okay, last thing about Pokemon X and Y anime. People say why you watch Pokemon Horizons when Digimon anime better. The same question, why do people watch Pokemon X, Y when Gundam G exists? That's kind of a difficult question to answer. That's kind of more just depending on your taste, I guess, and what you like. It's kind of subjective. I mean, I like Gundam G, but like it and Pokemon are kind of two different shows, so it just depends on what you like. I'm gonna let you go, Mitchell. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Alright, Kevin, thank you for hanging out with us today. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Peace. Ampharos fits Dot. Azumarill fits Liko. Sure. What's going on? We got 15 people here? What's going on? Well, hey, hello, how's it going, everyone? Do me a favor and hit that like button if you haven't already. We need only one more like to 10. Can we get to 10 likes before the stream ends? If we can believe it, it will happen. Bramblegas Fitzroy, I see. And vote in the poll. 16 votes. Can we get some more votes and more likes up in here before we end off things? Liko with Houndstone would have been cool. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Do you guys have anything else before we wrap things up here? Everyone went silent as soon as I said that. I have nothing left to say. Alright. Anything else? Give you another minute. Alright, see you next Saturday, Sharon. Anyone else got anything before we go? Give it just a couple more seconds here. Because I'm pretty much out of things to say for this episode. Well, everyone's gone quiet. So I guess we're pretty much gonna go ahead and wrap things up today. Bathra fits Liko. Your hot take, I think Liko Masquerade had a very funny character design despite the huge number of defeats. I mean, lately it's been kind of losing a bit, but, you know, it kind of had a comeback in the previous episode. It's just not falling off as much as Quaxwell. Anyways, let's go ahead and wrap things up for today. Didn't quite make it to 10 likes, oh well. Got 9. But, yeah. I keep saying I'm going to be going back to doing gaming streams. We'll get to it eventually. I'll just say that, but we'll do it eventually. But anyways, we'll be doing the Horizon stream next Saturday, same time. I don't have it unless something comes up. I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, we should be having it at the same time. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. We got 16 votes. 8-7 win. So we're going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. Alrighty, guys. That's all I got for today's stream. So if you're still here, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great day or night where you're at. Happy Valentine's Day to those celebrating it. And anyways, have a good day or night where you're at. And I will see you all later. Bye.